Okay. Welcome in, Satellite fans, here to a Regan's Corner Popplewell cast here. Jim Barber, take it.
All right, thanks, Josh. Raina Fagans will be our producer tonight. Should be a lot of fun as these two really competitive teams match up. Satellites from South Central, record of 19-3 in the Tigers from Township at 16-5. This is senior night for the Lady Satellites, honoring three excellent players on the Regan Sports Network. And right now, let's pause and hear from Steve Netza, who has the starting lineups for both teams.
With a conference record of 5 wins and 1 loss and an overall record of 16 wins and 5 losses, let's meet the starting line for the Township Tigers. At 1-4, a 5'8" sophomore, number 30, Jake Pryor. And another 4, a 5'8" junior, number 14, Kendra Frazier. At 1 guard, a 5'5" senior, number 15, Avery Hendrickson. And another guard, a 5'5" junior, number 3, Addie Gorski. Rounding out the guards, a 5'6" junior, number 10, Miranda Wozniak. Tigers are coached by Chris Brown. With a conference record of 6 wins, 0 losses, overall record 19 wins and 3 losses, and your Porter County Conference Tournament champions. Let's meet the starting line for South Central Satellite. At 4, a 5'10" junior, number 30, Sadie Marks. And our 5'5" junior, number 32, Hope Welsh. And another guard, 5'7" senior, number 33, Lillian Tolmen. At a 4, a 5'8" senior, number 40, Olivia Marks. And a guard, 5'6" senior, number 44, Kate Welsh. Satellite to coach by Ben Anderson.
It has been Anderson who had a spectacular record at South Central. He's only lost 4 games. A win in this game will bring him to a 9-20 with percentage mark over 2 years.
This is the girls' game is
And even though, Josh, these are 2 different classifications, 2A versus 1A, they're pretty competitive pool, huh?
Absolutely. And arch rivals. These two teams don't like each other there, Jim. This is a very good rivalry. Usually very competitive. It's not been the last couple of years.
Now, Collection's been 3 consecutive wins for South Central over Township. Good ball on the opening possession.
Out of bounds. Satellite basketball.
For the Satellites, who were perfect in Porter County, playing the ball out of bounds. They're going to face both for the pressure, which is a little neutral, I think.
Absolutely. And plus that nucleus there, Jim, where Olivia Marks and Hope Welsh, Kate Welsh, the sister that you're going to have tonight with the Welshes and the Marks, and Lillian Tolmen kind of slimming into that too. The chemistry is just there.
Highlight playing is going right off the top, forcing the three from the outside. Opening possession for the Tigers. The third and 1 baseline and a missed 3, which turns out to be an air ball. That's a big game for both teams. I think Dr. Capel next week with 1 in advance time to go to the next game. Nice shot really out there, and a good start right now for the Satellite. That's Sadie Marks, who's in the starting lineup, put them ahead 2-0. So a rough start now for the Tigers with 2 turnovers and a missed 3. And back on offense come the Satellites. They have not lost much this year, and in fact, rarely losing this gym. Facing his own defense as well. That's a 3 for the outside, and it is there. By Olivia Marks. You have seen her play a lot, Josh. How good is she?
She's good. She's going to be a Division II star next year at Shrine. Her and her running mates also playing in the PCC, Allison Capuch. I mean, Olivia Marks, though, can shoot. She can drive. She's an all-around player, okay? This year, they needed her to go into the post a little bit more. From the losing their center they've had the last 2 years with Laura Bolmar, their gym. And it's just whatever the team needs her to do, she'll do. She's that kind of player. One of the greatest scorers of all time.
This is an excellent start right now for the Satellite. Jumping out to a 5-0 lead. They'll take on Hebron in the North Judson sectional next week. And Hammond Academy and Technical video opponent will try Township, which has the ball right now in the black uniform. So the first 4 possessions have resulted in 3 turnovers and a missed 3. Josh, you've seen a lot of ball at the trouble. Any nerves being involved here?
I think there's a little bit of a nerves situation for the Tri-Township. Being very close to facing the Satellites in the Porter County Conference Tournament, I think they're a little bit overwhelmed with the size of South Central's guards. Even though they're about the same height, but it just seems like South Central's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. And it's kind of overwhelming the skill set of Tri-Township.
Number 14, Kendra Frazier, commits the foul. So it remains 5-0, just 2 minutes into the opening quarter. You mentioned a quick turnaround for both teams next week. Both are playing Tuesday night in the opening rounds of their respective tournaments. Look at the ball movement there on the baseline. And another foul committed. This one on Addie Gorski. It could be a shooting situation coming up for the Satellites.
There, Jim. Lillian Tolmen, that's kind of her game. She's a slasher. She's also looking kind of maybe to walk on to University of Tampa herself.
Lillian Tolmen's free throw is good. First free throw attempt of the game. This Tolmen played a number of sports: golf, track and field, basketball, and playing this sport since she was a 4th grader.
Absolutely. And plus, she's also dipped her toe into the volleyball shoes a little bit too with her early years as a freshman and sophomore. But you're going to see that with a bunch of these athletes here. Jim.
Satellites have forced the 3rd turnover of the game. Miss on the layup, and now a foul in the backcourt. I believe will be coming up against Tri-Township. As Lillian Tolmen drew the contact, and as a result, the foul was committed by Avery Hendrickson.
Absolutely. And you could tell Tri-Township's coach really wasn't a fan of that call there, Jim.
No, most coaches will say, Josh, trying to get a call on the road is tough. Right now, the team has to be able to control the ball and maybe settle in a little bit, trailing in this game 6-0. Just love the way the Satellites push the ball around. Just about everybody gets a touch on this play. There's a wide-open 3 for Kate Welsh and a 9-0 start for the Tigers, or for the Satellites guy.
Absolutely. But this is kind of what they do for the Satellites, okay? They're going to pressure you. They're going to make you frustrated on the offensive end, and then they're going to make you wait on the defensive end, okay?
Yeah, you mentioned that the last 2 games have not been close between these teams. In fact, 61-34, 82, 29, and 51-32 have been the last 3 finals. Got an electric start going here, too. Good penetration, and now kick it back out. Satellites just looking for everybody here. Tough pass on the baseline against the double team. But still, South Central controls with a 9-0 lead in the 5 minutes opening quarter. Very patient, Josh.
They are patient. This is kind of how they do their conditioning, okay? They're going to be madness on the defensive end and then patient on the offensive end.
Because even though they committed over the back foul there, they got a great look, and that came by way of, 15, 20 individual passes?
Absolutely. But when you play 6 girls, you got to find some ways to kind of push your stamina a little bit. So that's kind of how they do it with the passes, with kind of selling it down a little bit.
Tigers themselves have a 45-year tournament history. South Central, has won sectional titles in 3 of the last 4 years and actually got to the semi-state in 2020.
Absolutely.
Terrific team that year that lost to Franklin in overtime, 62-61. Right now they're on defense, leading 9-0, halfway through the first quarter.
There, Jim, the girls program for South Central, it's kind of like the Alabama, the PCC girls, okay? Because they reload, okay? They don't really have laws the last 5-6 years where the program kind of graduates a senior here, and they have a class where it's kind of figuring it out. These girls really haven't figured it out too much because it's been a mesh of a winning culture.
Hope Welsh foul going to the free throw line, or the baseline rather. Misses on her 2 free throw attempts. So it remains 9-0 in favor of the Satellites, who are not the only Achilles heel so far, as they've hit just 1 4 free throw attempts. But their defense, Josh, continues to pitch a shutout.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're pitching a shutout, almost like in baseball, like that ace, you're going to be pretty good here in basketball terms, especially when it's this big of a run that you're having to start off the game. You're in your home court, and just like that, Sadie Marks puts it to 11-0.
Sadie Marks in this game has 4. Olivia Marks 3. Katie Welsh 3. And Lillian Tolmen the other point.
Absolutely. But if you're Township there, Jim, what do you do to kind of settle your nerves down? Playing in this atmosphere, knowing that you're going to be broadcast, because not a lot of schools broadcast their games, but knowing that you're coming here, Satellite Gym, where you have almost all your games broadcast, I might feel a little bit of pressure is in itself.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think the more difficult part right now is playing on a senior night where the home team is really amped up. Their ball movement is terrific. I mentioned earlier, just about everybody gets a look on a possession or a touch. And so maybe for the Tigers, they just need to take a few more passes, try to keep the ball on the exterior if it's not going well inside, and just take some time and get that first basket, and that'll loosen things up a little bit.
Absolutely.
But 5 minutes in, it is all South Central, and South Central will keep the heat on with full pressure.
You got to get Gorski or Hendricks going here, because it's looking really bad, especially with that defense that's just pressuring the heck out of their shooters.
Gorski got 3 for the outside, which again does not draw a rim. That's happened a couple of times. What a great start for the Satellites, trying to close out a senior night for 3 of their outstanding players, and they get ready for the big tournament. Mentioned Olivia Marks, over 1,100 career points, and now 700 plus rebounds.
Absolutely. One of the greatest players of all time here in the girls program. And on cue there, Jim.
Yeah. For Olivia now, 2 field goals, Josh, 5 points. Satellites top 4, and they've got a baker's dozen, a 13-0 lead.
Absolutely. And Kate Welsh, so this is her first year kind of starting a little bit here, because you had Abby Tomlin last year, who is now playing at Indiana Northwest in that point guard position. But Kate has filled in her shoes very nice, kind of getting that calm kind of offense that you've seen a little bit here. All these girls don't look tired. They have great condition. They've had it the whole year. And that's part of the reason why they're at 19-3 during this game coming in.
This can be a big surprise to the Tigers. They actually played pretty well in the PCC tournament, beat Westfield. Dave Prider had a huge game starting with and maybe that'll loosen things up.
Absolutely. Their Jim. And plus, their season with the PCC has been really good, too. Township went over Couts, which Couts took South Central to the limit. 2 games. That score looks a little bit farther than what it really was, both games.
That's a 3 on the other end. So Olivia Marks now with 2 3-pointers and a field goal, and she has 8 in the first quarter. What a start.
What a start for Olivia.
In contact inside, foul coming up on the Satellites. With a $1:14, 1:14 left in the third quarter. Lead 16-3 with Josh Regan. I'm Jim Barber. Raina Vegas is our producer. We're on the Satellite Sports Network, and it's been all satellites to this point.
Absolutely.
Another problem developing for the Tigers are the personal fouls committed in the opening quarter, already 5 compared to just 2 for the Satellite. Come up empty on the free throw misses, and back we go the other way. One of the things you notice so far, too, Josh, is that the Satellites have yet to commit a turnover. That's pretty impressive in a quarter.
Absolutely it is. That's because they're a well-coached team with Ben Anderson. That record doesn't happen overnight. When you have great players like he's had, and plus with good coaching, you'll get that record. Only losing 4 times in the last 2 years. Last year only losing once, and that was to Andrean in the state tournament. But these Satellites look really good. And whoever faces them in the state tournament, good luck.
Yeah, and what a beautiful feed and drive by Olivia Marks. That was on the second and third effort. She has 10 in the first quarter, and her team leads 18-3 as we get down to the final seconds of this opening period. One made field goal so far for the Tigers.
Absolutely. But Jim, if you're the Tigers head coach, you want your girls to drive in a little bit more on what you're seeing, because they're just not hitting shots, and they're shooting from Steph Curry range right now.
Yeah, and only Steph Curry can do that, right?
Absolutely.
Seconds remaining in the quarter and timeout being called. It's 18-3. By the way, congratulations to somebody you're quite familiar. Carol Walter has been nominated to the Indiana Sports Writers and Sportscasters Association Hall of Fame. How about that? Absolutely.
Yeah, so Harold has been a mentor to us for the last 2 years, last 3, since we kind of started this. So to see him in the Hall of Fame, it's very great. And yeah, so we also will have a All-Star game that we're going to broadcast in his charity's honor, Cheryl Holter's Foundation. Very excited for that. It's going to be at Township or Lacrosse's gym, the Tiger Den, which is a historic gym and venue as well. But getting back into the action there, Jim, what do you say? I mean, they're starting to chip at it a little bit.
They need as many field goals as they get their hands on in the final seconds. 5 to shoot it, 5 to end the quarter. They get something off in time. Well, the Satellites have a lot to be pleased with. On senior night, they have owned the first quarter, leading 18-3 with 10 from Olivia Marks, 4 from Sadie Marks, 3 from Kate Welsh, and a free throw from Lillian Tolmen. The only field goal so far for Township and the Tigers, Addie Gorski.
Absolutely. I would get Addie Gorski going a little bit more, because you've seen the only open shot that they're getting was a stumble by Lillian Tolmen and a wide open shot from Gorski that she hit. Trying to get more open space with your guards, even though Satellites have the speed, they have the strength advantage. You just got to outsmart them if you can, which is going to be harder said than done for the Tigers.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem here is they're trailing by this deficit. Just try not to get in the mindset that you can make it up real quickly, because you have a lot of time left. Just don't want to get to the point where the lead is insurmountable against a Satellite team. It's pretty hard to beat anyway.
Absolutely.
So we start the second quarter. Ball will be out of bounds in the possession of the Satellites and the home white. Josh Regan, Jim Barber, on hand on the Regan Sports Network, and it has been total domination so far for the home team.
Absolutely. There. But it goes out of bounds there off of 20 Hendrickson here, the younger sister of Avery Hendrickson, which she might have a pretty bright future as right now as a freshman playing in a varsity game.
44 is Kate Welsh handling outside. First possession. Second half, good pass to Olivia Marks underneath. And Olivia Marks now has a dozen. So she adds to her career total. Now reaches 1,136 points for the 5'9" senior Josh, who can, well, she can play a lot of positions, but smaller power forward seem to be the two that she's used to.
Absolutely. Last year she played a lot of 3, just because that's what they needed her to do. Now she's playing a lot of 5, 4, 3. She could probably play 1 through 5, to be honest with you, the Satellites, if they needed it. But you have good guards. She's a guard / forward. But as you can see, that post move in there, deadly.
Yeah, look how far the Satellites extend their defense. Even when the ball is out and not in favor of being launched toward the goal, South Central's in great defensive position to force the ball to be moved around. That's the 3 from the outside. Rims in and out for Lillian Tolmen. And it remains 20-3 in favor of South Central. You mentioned moments ago the idea of trying to get Addie Gorski involved. She handles the ball outside. How do you see her trying to get closer to the goal in this game?
You just got to go 5 out here and kind of just cut and try to break it. Just like that, where she's going to hit a 3 there. Just kind of keep doing similar things like that. Kind of pick plays to get her open in space. Because that's the only thing you can do, because you're getting out muscled there, Jim. Lillian Tolmen just with 2 and the harm.
Tolmen now with 3. Addie Gorski has all 6 for the Tigers. They've already equaled their total here in the second quarter as to what they had in the entire first.
Absolutely.
Working against the zone as Addie swings it to the opposite side. That's a really deep 3. You mentioned Steph Curry range. That was pretty close to that.
Absolutely.
National 10.5 court taken away. This is a 3 against 1. Their best opportunity for a while. And unfortunately couldn't make the most of it, even though they keep possession.
And you could tell one of the Satellites even missed assignment there because Ben Anderson was a little bit hot on that one. Even with this big a lead, you could see he wants the details followed, okay? And that's why they have a 19-3 record.
Starts out front are Miranda Wozniak and Maddie Gorski. And we got contact being called inside and a blocking foul.
Sadie Marks, her second team's
Sadie Marks, her second foul.
Jay Pryor can shoot 2.
And there'll be 2 free throws coming in for Jay Pryor. And I mentioned, gosh, what a great BCC tournament that she had. She had her team's first 7 points in that one over Westville in a game where they won 45-33. And where would they have been without her?
Absolutely. She had some really good games there. She gave the Couts Mustangs everything and more that they barely won in the games. And then at the Tiger Den, Couts, they say that the Tiger Den gives you 20 points. I think that's a little bit too much there. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, it's a shorter gym, but like, gym, they don't give you that much. Okay.
No.
They just were a better team that night. It's Couts Mustangs, but it's looking like they're struggling here against this Satellite team who's just gotten better and better all year long. If they played them earlier in the year, this would have been probably maybe even a closer game so far because Morgan Township lost to Couts, which Morgan Township only lost by a last-second shot in this gym.
Just joining us, Tigers in the black uniforms. Satellites in their new white unis, leading 22-7 on senior night. 5 minutes remaining in the opening half. And it has been all South Central who jumped out to an 18-3 lead. The one saving grace right now are the personal fouls that are allowing the Tigers to get to the free throw line, but they've been able to convert only 1 of 5 so far from the line.
Absolutely.
And now 1 of 6.
And one of the Achilles heels for the Satellites is on the other side with the free throws. I mean, to a better club in the state tournament, that could be really harmful. Shooting at a clip at 65% this year.
When you're a high school team, if you can get it into the 70s, mid to upper 70s, that's pretty strong. College teams want to hit the 80s, and of course in the NBA, the upper 80s, mid 80s. If you're some of the guys who play for Golden State, the 90s are more respectable.
Absolutely.
At the high school level, if you're around the 70s, that'll work. It should work.
Okay.
About halfway through the second quarter, and Addie Gorski, who is a 5'7" junior, will step to the free throw line. We got a timeout. In the meantime, as the Satellites get a full timeout, leading 22-7. Gosh, this South Central team was third in the Valparaiso Holiday Tournament, lost to Shelbyville, beat Knox. You figure if you can match up with a school that's much higher than you are in classification, you're going to be pretty good. How competitive do you think South Central would be at another classification?
I think they would be super competitive. It's not going to be 19-3, but even if you put them in the Duneland, I think they're still above 500.
Really?
I think, yeah. They destroyed Chesterton this year. They won by about 10 or 15 here on this floor. And then Valpo, they didn't get the chance to play Valpo, but they won against Valpo last year in the holiday tournament. They actually did not play well against Shelbyville. They probably played about their C game that morning. And Knox, about the same way. Because in the regular season, it was a wrap when they played at Knox. So that holiday tournament really wasn't their best show.
Here's Addie Gorski at the free throw line. They are now in the bonus right now, so that's the one saving grace for the Tigers. That's only the second free throw they made in a total of 7 attempts. So let's see if the charity stripe brings it back into it. 2 free throws for Addie Gorski. She has got 8. Josh, you mentioned earlier she's got to get involved. Is this the type of involvement you were thinking about?
Absolutely. You got to get in line. You got to get these great satellite players in foul trouble, because that's where you're going to have a chance. Because you see their guards here with Henderson trying to do everything she can to guard them, but there's going to be an open player in space because they move the ball like Golden State, okay? Their Jim, because there's not a person that you need to leave off, because all of them can shoot a 3 and make it.
How'd you like that crossover dribble moments ago by Olivia Marks? That was almost Allen Iverson-like. That was pretty impressive. And then the pass in the corner, which led to some attempted free throws here for Hope Welsh.
Absolutely. Like we've talked about earlier, she's a renaissance woman, okay, when she's on this basketball floor, because she can do anything that you need her to do. Okay, you need a post play, good. You need a flashy crossover, kind of get to the rim. She's got that. And speaking of probably going to fill in her shoes next year, Sam Marks going to be a really good one. As a freshman already, you could see strides.
Yes, Sam averages 3 points a game, 4 rebounds, and an assist. Sadie Marks' basket moments ago gives her 6. And that means so far in the starting lineup, all 5 starters for the Satellites have scored as we're past the halfway point on the second quarter. And they do a nice job of double teaming and forcing the Tigers to get rid of the ball quickly. But the best way to beat that is to try to cut in the defense and attack the goal. And that's exactly what happened there.
Absolutely. The big 3 for Township's got to get going. Hendrickson's been really struggling at the 3-point. And Pryor, other than that basket, he's got to get going to drives and low post scoring here. Gorski's only one out of those 3s that kind of is getting it going here. And Wozniak is a shooter. So it's just, I don't know. They really haven't played up to their record so far here, Jim.
You mentioned Pryor just moments ago getting her first field goal of the game, 3 points. As the free throw by Lillian Tolmen gives her 4. And the lead has reached 15. South Central struggled from the line to start with, but now has gotten her groove going there, hitting 3 free throws in the second quarter, and the lead is up to 16. 3 minutes to go in the opening half.
Absolutely.
We got contact in the backcourt and back to the free throw line. We're going to go, and the foul there is called on Sam Marks. Good-looking atmosphere. You love the kids that are located behind the free throw line. They're trying to put a little intimidation on the Tigers at the free throw line. You've seen a lot of festive atmospheres in the Porter County tournaments and play. How does this one match up?
This is one of the best rivalries in the Porter County. This might be one of the best rivalries in the state of Indiana because it's always packed. It's giving you that old town kind of small town feel, especially since the Roosters Nest, that student section here in Satellite Gym, David Williams Court, is just outstanding. And Pryor with the steal, but Kate Welsh, you can't just be lackadaisical once she's around. Sets her game, stealing it like it's a bad habit there, Jim.
Yeah, Satellites just missed an opportunity inside, but contact was fouled. Might have been actually a held blow there, and the possession arrow gets it over to the Tigers. So both teams had chances. Now Central trying to become a 20-game winner, for the victory here. 8 wins in a row for Satellites. And earlier in the season, the Tigers had won 8 in a row.
Absolutely, and the Tigers are trying to become a round robin PCC champions here, where the Satellites, all they have to do is win, okay? Because the tiebreaker is the counts, because it's during the tournament. So technically, Township has not lost a PCC game in the regular season. But it's not looking good for them right now.
Lillian Tolmen now has 7 on the game after a slow start and make it 8. So Olivia Marks with 12, Lillian Tolmen with 8, Sadie Marks 6, Kate Welsh 3, Brooke Walsh with a free throw. Satellites 30, Tigers 12.
Absolutely.
The double team is really impressive.
That trap, as I'm about to say something great about that trap, Jim, Township's kind of getting around it a little bit there.
Yeah, and the key a lot of times is to try to be able, if you can with the dribble, to split it, which means you're going to have somebody open on the wings or win the ball as soon as possible. This is a double bonus right now because of the amount of fouls committed by the Satellites in the first half, but the free throw is missed, so a second opportunity is coming up here.
And Jim, they're letting Pryor know it, okay, that student section.
Well, they know who the star player is, do they not?
Absolutely.
They're Pryor now with 4 on the game. Marks on the baseline, drives past everybody, and likely stepped on the line with 1:55 remaining in the first half. This is senior night for Lillian Tolmen and Olivia Marks and Kate Welsh.
It's looking pretty good there, Jim, for your senior night. You have your arch rival at home, and you're just kicking butt right now.
Yeah. On the drive by Jade Pryor, foul call. She'll go back to the line where he's already attempted 5 free throw attempts, knocked out a couple.
And Kate Welsh looks kind of frustrated here from the call a little bit here. Going to her head coach as one of the captains, kind of going, what can I do there, Anderson? I mean, with my hands or whatever, as you can kind of see there. A little frustration from Welsh there.
Well, you know the game as well as anybody. I mean, do players ever commit personal fouls?
No.
2 free throws for Jade Pryor. Now it's 6. Knocked down the last 3 from the strike. As we are nearing 90 seconds for the first half. Satellites jumped out early and have not given up control since. It's been kind of a foul-ridden second quarter.
Absolutely.
As both teams have walked back and forth to the free throw line. And we mentioned Township at 16-5, 5-1 the PCC, South Central at 19-3, and a perfect 6-0.
Absolutely there, Jim. Trying to sweep the PCC once again. And keep that cup, that traveling trophy for the last 2 years. Most traveling conference tournaments, like you can't even think about 2 years. Some high school careers don't last 2 years.
No, they don't. I've done some college football games where there were rivalries and a certain trademark has been at stake, like a bronze star. I'm surprised in these trophy games how important it is to the kids to win it.
Absolutely. But for the girls, it's been since the 80s with this cup. And then for the boys, about since 70s or 60s for the cup. I mean, the keg. So there's a lot of interesting trophies here in the PCC.
And Anderson looks like he's got his team playing for the last shot of the first half.
Absolutely.
Trying to avoid the jump ball situation there. Now they break the seam. Still time to shoot it, but 15 seconds to go. They are settling for the last look. Down to 10. Open 3 right corner. Buried.
Right in the corner pocket there, Jim. It doesn't look any better than that with a Hope Welsh 3, because she's been very streaky lately, but in a good way.
And I wasn't sure who hit the 3 at the end. Who was that?
Hope Welsh.
LaPorte's #1 used car dealer, All-Star Autos, is a proud sponsor of Riggins Corner Sports Network.
So Hope Welsh now has her first field goal.
In high quality
And the number of threes in the game
and
is
excellent
impressive.
customer service. You could say it's out of this world.
Absolutely.
They pride themselves on making your car experience as easy and stress-free as possible.
Okay, so we're going to move into the action here, into our footage a little bit here for the seniors highlight films here. The Rockettes, it's kind of the halftime show usually for the Solids gym for the boys' games, but they've been more during the girls' games this year.
You've probably been to a few senior nights. What's it like when that happens?
Sorry, buddy.
So they don't get celebrated, the Rockettes, till the boys' season. So just kind of the girls right now perform it during halftime. But we're going to skip through the action here.
Okay.
So what have you seen from the Salites in Township here, and who is your kind of player of the game so far?
Well, I think it'd be Olivia Marks. I mean, not only does she do well shooting the ball, she's able to split the defenses. I mean, it's a good-looking player. And I don't know what the answer is to try and stop her because she just looks so impressive so far. But, you know, South Central got the Tigers with a bit of nerves to start. And I think maybe the Tigers are starting to settle in a little bit.
Absolutely. But that press, that trap kind of man switching off defense there, it's going to be hard for the Tigers to kind of get back into the swing of things after having kind of a poor showing in that first quarter.
Sure. So will we pick it up now with the seniors, or are we going to go to our third quarter?
So we're picking up with the seniors here, where Olivia Marks just got shown because she was the halftime All-Star Autos player of the half there. Now Lillian Tolmen is about to be honored herself since it is her senior night as well. And Lillian will be studying business at Tampa University and finances. And our thank you to Tolmen Financial for sponsoring this senior highlights. And Kate Welsh will be after them as well. And special thank you to Tolmen Financial for sponsoring Riggins Corner and being a proud sponsor here, the leading retirement insurance company in LaPorte County. There, Jim. And let's get kind of what they're going to see here going into the third quarter here. What are some keys for the Township Tigers to get back into this?
Well, I certainly found a way against the double team and the trap to try to split it. And so you'll probably see more of that defense from South Central coach Ben Anderson. So if you can find a way not to commit turnovers, get too frustrated by it, and again, attack the goal. They drew a lot of personal fouls in the second quarter, got to the free throw line several times. In fact, now for the game, Township has attempted 14 free throws, hit 7. That's a pretty good mark. So if they can find a way to break that trap, if the trap is out there in the third quarter, get to the free throw line, narrow the deficit. Not going to make up 18 points in a hurry, but cut it in half by the fourth quarter, got a chance.
Absolutely. And you had shooters all across your board there for Township. I mean, you got to think they're going to hit some because that first half was pretty miserable at the 3-point line. I mean, but you think, like, just kind of taking shots, you think they're going to hit a little bit in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, eventually percentages, well, they claim they even out. I don't know how true it is, but it certainly sounds good.
Sounds good, but not a great start there, Jim, because that miss from Pryor.
Yep. Home white for the South Central team. Satellites on offense. In command, 33-15. And now, with an opportunity to go up 20, just missing, and back come the Tigers. Addie Gorski had a good first half with 8 points and was able to get her team some momentum in that second quarter. But you can't waste a whole lot of possessions in this game when you're down by 18 points, even though you've got all the third quarter and the fourth remaining.
Absolutely there, Jim. I mean, going into this kind of zone is kind of a bold strategy here. You want to pressure the Satellites as much as you can, if you can. But when you have 3 Mark sisters who are just can do everything on the floor, it's very hard to kind of pressure because the guards with Lillian Tolmen, Hope Welsh, they have weapons around them that they can see at all times.
Yeah, that was Sadie Marks that just scored moments ago for the Satellites. She now has 8 in the game. The lead is at its largest at 20 at 35-15.
Absolutely.
Again, you like the way they push the ball across the center line and then move the ball into the paint, always looking for the open man. And with the open man there on the 3, just missing on the long shot. But they don't get off bad shots because their possessions have a lot of quality to them, and now they're back to defend. And they've used mostly a zone. A man-to-man or a zone, what would you prefer with South Central?
I would say it's kind of a switching man most of the time, but they'll go into a 2-3 zone and then go to a kind of trapping zone. So there'll be a little bit of a mixture, especially if they want to up the kind of pressure. They'll even go into a diamond press. So that's kind of one of the hard things about scouting the South Central team is they're going to go into several different defenses.
After the miss by Addie Gorski, back comes South Central. Led at the half, 33-15, leading now with the only 2 points in the third quarter, 35-15. That's a 3 from the left side. And again, the rebound taken down by South Central. It's been kind of 1 and out so far for the Tigers, who've been unable to get second chances in this game.
Absolutely. Because you can kind of see, even in the PCC tournament, there was laws where this Tiger team could not score. But the only difference was Couts as themselves could not score. And the team previous that they were playing. But the South Central team will not go into a law for too long.
Chris McGowan, by the way, is the head coach of the 1A Township Tigers in his 5th year, a 500 record in 112 games, 56 wins, and 56 losses. He started at 26-43, but since then, he's won almost 70% of his games, 30 of the last 43 in his team, which over the years has not won a sectional, at least many years prior to him taking the job. They're looking for the first sectional championship as they will travel just a few minutes down the road over at Couts to start tournament play next Tuesday night.
Absolutely. That's a very winnable sectional for them. The 2 teams that could beat them are Morgan Township and Couts. The other ones, I see them just walking through. But the only problem is you're going to play a Couts the second round.
Yeah.
So you're going to know if you have a great chance to win that sectional in the second round. In the semifinals.
Couts is ranked number 8.
Absolutely. which counts as the other PCC Trine member and Alsa Kampuch. Now, her stroke is an easy walk in the park. It's just an easy release. Deadly, though.
Addison Hendrickson has just entered the game for Township. She wears number 20. Her team in the black uniforms back on offense with a lot of points to make up here. And now forced into a turnover.
Absolutely. Just throwing it to Hope Welsh there, and then Hope just finding her sister for a 3-ball there.
Yeah, that's Kate Welsh, her second 3 of the game, Josh. Now she's got 6, and that is the 4th made 3 of the night for the Satellites.
Absolutely. Like, there's 5 shooters here. 6 if you want to count Sam Marks on the bench. So it's pretty hard to guard all 5 with a double team, or they're going to find the open woman.
That's a 3 from the outside by Addie Gorski.
Absolutely. Gorski's been on fire there, Jim.
Yeah, that is her 3rd 3 of the night to go with 2 free throws. She has 11 of the Tigers' 18. Almost turning into a 3-point shooting contest, and then off the loose ball, put back up and in. Sadie Marks with an offensive rebound. She now has double figures at 10.
Absolutely. So Sadie, kind of in this year, you could see a huge improvement from Sadie Marks. Kind of knowing that next year she's going to be, her and Hope are going to be the only 2 seniors. So she's going to take that leadership role from her sister next year.
Going to have a lot of freshmen turn into sophomores next year. So in some ways, I would think this is still going to be a relatively young Satellite team.
Absolutely. But like last year, you're going to miss 3 key pieces there with Lillian Tolmen, Olivia Marks, and Kate Welsh. Great leaders, all 3 captains. But you're still having your sharpshooter and Hope Welsh. You're still having an all-around scorer who's could be a stretch 4, and Sadie Marks. And then Sam Marks, who's a really good freshman, Michaela Welsh. And this is not even players who may even come out, because you have great athletes on the softball field as well, and volleyball.
Yeah, when you say a stretch 4, what do you mean by that?
That she's a post player, but she can shoot. And dribble and stuff like that. She's similar to what her sister is, but the skill set is still developing into the similar kind of thing there.
This half began with the Satellites leading 33-15, and now the lead is at 40-18 as we get down to the 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. A win by South Central gives them 20 for the season.
And a sweep in the Porter County Conference with championships, regular season and tournament.
Pretty nice awards to have in your final year, and maybe both teams will get a chance to add a sectional title to their resume, as each team is in different classifications. As you know, South Central is a 2A school, and Township is 1A.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be something if both teams were playing beyond next week into regional action?
That would be something here.
Lady Marks continues to have a good 3rd quarter. She has 3 field goals in the quarter alone, and now 12 for the game.
But both Satellites and Township have some work to do in their sectionals. Both of South Central's 2 or 3 losses have come to sectional opponents in LaVille and with North Judson. So they're going to have, even though they're the favorites in that sectional in North Judson, they're going to have some work to do.
Yeah, and the key in playing North Judson is you're going to have to win a tournament on their court, and that always makes it a little tougher.
Absolutely. And you know how those Fraser girls go, okay? With Lillian being one of the all-time scorers of North Judson and playing college ball currently, and her sister not much behind her with 1,000 points herself, and Sylvia Fraser right now with a coach that's pretty good in Bailey Goodman.
Satellites continuing in the zone we've seen from the start, and it seems to have put up a good wall against the Tigers, who have shot under 20% for the game. And one thing for South Central here in the third quarter, as opposed to the second, they have stayed away from the personal fouls, as we're in the final moment here of the third quarter.
Absolutely. And
Tigers
Hendricks,
get good position inside, yes, and a foul called. And that is only the second foul. Check that. That's going to be on the Tigers. That'll be their 14th foul. South Central is committed in this quarter just one foul.
absolutely. And Hendricks has been off a little bit here. A great player. It's just that 3-point is just not draining for her tonight. But being a great player that she is, during that sectional, she still has a high possibility of ending her career off of on a high note with a sectional championship.
And again, the sectionals go next week for both teams starting on Tuesday night. Satellites trying to play for the last shot, draw contact, non-shooting foul, 5 seconds to go. What kind of play do you like here with 5 seconds remaining?
Anything with Olivia Marks.
And she wears 40, so keep your eyes on her. Underneath the basket for the moment. And we may have another foul coming up. So 2 fouls just in the last couple of seconds.
Absolutely. But I would like to get a curling kind of play for Olivia Marks here so she can set up for a 3.
Got time to do it. 3 seconds remaining. Right corner. Quick pass left side. Marks 3. How about that? Wow.
Jim, it's like I watched this game before, you know. But Olivia Marks on a senior day going a little bit of a James Harden kind of thing and kind of saying she's eating right now, okay, with that last 3. I mean, which you can't argue with her. Just drailing threes, post moves. Right now, easily probably my All-Star Autos player of the game.
That was really impressive. I mean, they make the most, Josh, and you see them play a lot more than most. They just seem to make the most out of just a few seconds. I mean, the play is designed off the inbounds pass. Everybody knows where we're going to be. Olivia knew where she was going to be on the left wing, and she just drained it.
Absolutely. I can't wait to watch those girls in the sectional with North Judson TV and stuff like that. It's in their home network over there in North Judson, where the school runs it on the championship network here in Indiana. So kind of giving it off to them because we're kind of a WGN to South Central. So it's kind of, in a way, you want to call those tournament games, but in a way, you kind of want to enjoy yourself, watch greatness here.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is.
Well, you've had a chance to see this team in the white uniforms a lot, and the fact that they can end their careers, at least their careers on this floor, 3 of them, tonight with a victory, it's going to be a pretty nice way to go out as a foul is called to start the 4th and the final quarter. You really want to look good on a night where they're honoring your best, and they have looked good.
Absolutely. And plus, when you have your hated rival in a rivalry that's named after a Guns N' Roses song and Welcome to the Jungle, I mean, like, you got to make some noise. I mean, and make example of the teams that you lost to early in the year with LaVille and a North Judson.
Right now, Satellites are content just to move the ball around. Look for the open shooter inside. They have a overwhelming lead, so the result of the game is not in conflict. But why not use some clock now? Try to find the open shooter and get yourself well prepared for a big week of tournament play in which you have to win several games to win a sectional championship.
Absolutely. Other than the first game, that sectional is not going to be easy. And plus, Hebron has seen the Satellites twice before. Once here on this floor and once on the PCC. But both have been blowouts in Satellites' favor. But seeing a team twice, that helps Hebron.
Yeah, in the case of Hebron, the game you're referring to was 11 days ago, in which the Satellites won 62-22. Should they win against Hebron on opening night play Tuesday night at North Judson in the sectional, they would face a team of South Bend Career on Friday night and then hopefully advance past the first two to the championship game on Saturday.
Absolutely. They got a good draw on that side of the bracket, to be honest with you. South Bend Career Academy is kind of a 500 team in the 2As. Playing a little bit better competition with that South Bend, whatever, but still, Satellites are still playing Duneland schools and still putting up the record that they are putting up. So
it's a nice steal by Kendra Frazier. Doesn't result in a field goal as the Satellites take down the rebound. They've led from the start. Jumped out 11-0. And then ended the first quarter up 18-3 in the scoring of Olivia Marks, who had 10, upped it to a 15-point lead at the break, 33-15, and then 45-18 after 3. Josh Reagan's our analyst. I'm Jim Barber. Raina Fagan's our producer on the Reagan Sports Network. And the Satellites are closing out their home schedule for 2022-2023 on senior night in a very impressive fashion.
Absolutely. And you could tell a little bit of frustration there from Township. Quick tech, though, because it looked like number 20, Addison Hendrickson, was just getting up there and just kind of using Lillian Tolmen a little bit there to kind of get up. And then the refs thought it was an open hand, like slap a little bit there, and there's a tech.
Yeah, on top of the technical, this is a rule that went into play just a few years ago. You also pick up a personal foul, so it's kind of a double whammy, if you will.
Absolutely. And initially, since this is a rebroadcast live, kind of venting the refs a little bit, it looked a lot worse than what it actually was.
Really?
Yeah. So where we were sitting, it looked a little bit more than what you could see right now. Because here it just looked like a little, not even a little push, just like a little tap. And then, boom.
Lillian Tolmen has hit 2 free throws, courtesy of the technical foul. And now for the free throw line, she's hit 5 in a row and 6 of her last 7. This conversation right now between the 3 officials, I'm not sure if it centers around more free throws or where the contact was made, and now the coaches will come into play.
Well, this is very interesting, Jim. The 2 that she just knocked down do not count because it was a foul on Lillian. So the tech, they're going to reshoot, even though they could have just shot the technical right there. It's a very complicating little segment here there.
It's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm Ben Anderson in this situation, even though we're blowing out a rival, let's just be correct here, and we're blowing him out. I'm taking the 2, okay? I'm not having Lillian shoot again.
Well, as you can tell, it doesn't seem to affect her any because she hit the 2 that they took away from her.
Hey, Jim, there's one thing about basketball. The ball never lies.
True. She now has 10 in the game and becomes the 3rd double-figure scorer for the Satellites. They were set to go perfect through the Porter County play, and now up their record to 20-3 in the next 6.5 minutes. In the meantime, Chris McGowan, the head coach of the Tigers, with a conversation at center court, and that will bring Ben Anderson into the picture as well. And no coach likes to go unheeded or unnoticed when one coach is having a conversation, if it's possible. So while there doesn't seem to be any huge disagreement here, they're both getting a chance to weigh in.
Absolutely. I don't know if you get a challenge here in high school ball. I mean, they could be shipping it to Boston or New York for this play. I mean, to kind of see where the foul is, or
Lord help us if we get to that point. 47-18 is our score at 6:50 to go. By the way, the bonus situation is now in effect for the Satellites already here in the second half. Continuing to move the ball against the double team. It was a dangerous pass in the corner. Out of bounds belongs to South Central. So you've watched this team now for 3 1/4 of this game. You've seen them during the season, the regular part of the season, as Sadie Marks comes back in. How deep do you think the Satellites can play in the IHSA tournament?
I think they can go win a regional. Semi-state's going to be a little hard. Regional is going to be really hard because you got that team west of you, the 59ers. I mean, they're consistently good in almost every sport that they have. They're an Andrean. The team that's put a loss column in your record last year after you almost had a perfect season. To me, that's a revenge tour game.
Sure.
But when you get into regionals, they're going to be sitting right there. I mean, you get past them, the sky's pretty much the limit. But ceiling right now is a regional championship, especially a sectional championship is probably expected because you have an easy road going into that championship. Because Hebron, you've blown out twice. South Bend Career Academy is about a 500 club team, and you got LaVille and you got North Judson, where you played probably your worst ball all year long, and you still almost won both games.
Both teams missing field goal opportunities. Satellites come back and once again quickly in the front court to get into their offense, which is one of their keys that allows them to get off a shot very fast, even though that one does not result in a made basket. They have had a number of threes early in the first half. They have also hit the free throw line. There hasn't been much about their game that you can really criticize, although I'm sure if you're their coach, Ben Anderson, who is going to go 46-4 in his first 2 years, well, being a coach, he'll always find something as they get ready for next week. And a big matchup, opening night matchup at North Judson against Hebron.
Absolutely. And a fun fact about Ben Anderson, he's also the superintendent of South Central.
Really?
Absolutely.
Impressive. So, in effect, he's his own boss.
Absolutely. I mean,
in some ways, anyway.
It's kind of hard to go past if you're John Hager, the girls' coach, and Ben Anderson.
Nice drive to the basket. We haven't seen many of those by Gwen Mendenhall for her first field goal and her first points of the night.
Absolutely. So the freshmen are growing, okay? I mean, had the lumps in JV for a while, but you could see the potential out of all the freshmen.
And they've got a bunch of freshmen. They've got 4 on his satellite roster. Josh has already mentioned the fact that 3 seniors end their home career here in this game, and they've got a couple of juniors, Sadie Marks and Hope Welsh, and Gina Sabat that'll be back next year to help key this team.
Absolutely, and you don't know who comes back to play because you got Alexi Johnson, who last year was a 3-sport star as a freshman: volleyball, basketball, and softball, which we're going to see a lot of her on the softball field this year. You don't know if she comes back to basketball next year, depending on how many scholarships she gets from softball this year. I mean, that could be a possibility. You got Hoover, who can be another possibility as a junior next year. But if this club stays how it is right now, you're looking at Sadie Marks, and you're looking at Hope Welsh and Sam Marks as your big three.
Not a bad team for 23-24. Team right now with a 47-20 lead in this game. About to win for the 20th time in the regular season against just 3 losses. It's been a terrific regular season and
Absolutely.
one really to be proud of.
It's been a very great 2 years there. Maybe even 3, maybe 4. I mean, ever since kind of that 2020 season, these girls have been absolutely reloading. Even before that, in the 2019 season, you have to go till 2017 for the Satellites having a losing record. That's pretty outstanding.
That is. This will be the 4th consecutive time that Satellites have beaten the Tigers. Again, we mentioned they had won by 27, 53, and 19 points in previous games. The lead right now is 23.
Absolutely. What can the Tigers kind of learn here, Jim, looking towards their state tournament this week?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is to try to avoid the horrible start it had and try to find a way to just erase that. I mean, they always say that kids respond and get over things quicker than coaches, and that'll be important because it's a brand new tournament, different competition coming up Tuesday night, and the key really is to try to find a way to make sure you don't get yourself in such a hole in the first half that you really can't dig out of it.
Absolutely. That first game, Township should win, but Couts Mustangs in that second game, most likely, you're kind of going similar team as South Central. You have seniors who have basically the same skill set as you're seeing here from the South Central Satellites. Just these girls are just well coached, though. I mean, they're like a unit, and plus having sisters on the floor constantly. It's not hard working on your chemistry.
No, I think that's an important factor, that you've got family. It's almost like a son or daughter playing for their dad as a coach. You know they're going to talk a lot of basketball. You know they're going to work through any kind of concerns they might have. And they kind of feed off each other, make each other better.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, Marks' dad is the assistant coach. So Scott Marks is their assistant coach. So you can even talk basketball with him too.
Yes.
So
getting down to 2 minutes here in the second half, 2 minutes in the final quarter. 3 double-figure scores for South Central, 1 for Township, and Satellite's most impressive on Satellite's senior night here at the gym.
You can't say much more about these seniors here at the launching pad. Okay, their gym. I mean, they came in with their arch rival coming into tonight, kind of looking a different result than what they have seen in the last 3 years. You're looking at the record. No wonder why we scheduled this for the Popplewell cast, because you're looking at that record. You're not thinking a blowout, okay? 15-6, having an amazing year for the Township Tigers. It's just, it wasn't meant to be tonight, okay? Because you have 3 legends here with Hope, with Kate Welsh, with Olivia Marks, and Lillian Tolmen. So it's just their night, okay? It's just theirs, with Olivia Marks almost going into that 20 kind of point range already here coming into the later parts. And Kate having a little bit of a log here with this, but her leadership with the point guard position and doing other things. And same with Lillian Tolmen. Okay, you have 3 seniors who know their role. And then you have the juniors, Hope Welsh and Sadie Marks. And then you have a freshman who's coming into her own as a 6th woman. It's very hard. And then there's another technical foul.
Well, that's highly unusual for a high school game, and it's unfortunate. It does happen. Both coaches will be informed as to why it happened. This will be the 14th double-digit win in the last 19 games for the South Central Satellites. And I suppose, if anything, the technical kind of mar this finish a little bit, but both teams, I'm sure, will have plenty to talk about when it's over. And get ready for what's going to be a big week next week, as Jay Pryor now has 9 in the game, and 5 of those have come from the free throw line. And she becomes the 2nd double-figure scorer of the game for Township.
Absolutely.
Along with Addie Gorski, who has 13.
And Township notably has been resting their senior at Avery Henderson this whole quarter, trying to get other guards kind of work just in case of an injury during that sectional.
A 3 from the corner brings the total to 31. So if you could take away the first quarter, which was awfully rough for the Tigers, they have almost played the Satellites even over the last 3 quarters, and so their recovery from an abysmal start is certainly be noted. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chris McGowan, their fine head coach of Township, emphasizes that there was some good play after the play wasn't so good to start.
Absolutely. But is that kind of the Satellites pulling back a little bit, or is that just the play from the Tigers, though?
Could be a little bit of both. And in fact, when you have an impressive ending after a rough start, brought up to the coach as to whether he wants to dwell on the good beginning or the good ending or the bad beginning. But either way, both these teams, as you mentioned, Josh, likely going to win their first round games. And I want to wish them both the best of luck. It would be exciting to see them in a week or so in regional competition, having played each other as a tune-up for both tournaments.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the best tune-ups you can have. Your
Sure.
arch rival, Township, a road game in a hostile environment, because any game in this environment and any school is a hostile environment, especially when you have the crowd right there. And the student section this year has been absolutely an A+. As you can see, I mean, standing throughout this game, that's really hasn't been that close.
And hugs just moments ago for the 3 seniors. Lillian Tolmen, number 33, number 40, Olivia Marks, and 44, Kate Welsh, in their final home game. And you can see the camera capturing some of the emotion there. Final home game in their career here for South Central. What a career it's been.
Absolutely. We've kind of highlighted Olivia Marks' career, but Lillian Tolmen, starting as a freshman, about 400 points in her career. That's still high up there. And then Kate Welsh stepping up this year in her senior year, getting about 200 points this year.
Wow.
So with the 3 ball, with her leadership as the point guard, study. So you have 3 really good players that you're going to be graduating. So it's going to be hard. You retooled last year. Can you do it again next year?
So points being added to the total as we get to the final seconds, and that is it. Tigers had a much better second half than the first, but South Central wins 51-37. And for the Satellites, They complete the regular season with 20 victories against 3 losses.
Absolutely there, Jim. I mean, what can you say about those satellites?
They're good. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch in a tournament. I hope they go a long way.
Me too. I mean, our next broadcast will be for the boys Friday night against Morgan Township. Kind of the boys equal to the girls here in the South Central Satellites. That game's for the Kegs. I mean, big time game in the PCC for the boys who have been playing better, but they have lost 13 games, won 4. So it's still going to be in a high-style environment in Morgan. So I'm sorry to call that game. But like you said, with the girls, oh boy, if they're playing like that, semi-state is in their future.
Wouldn't that be something? That would really be impressive.
Absolutely, especially since that softball program went to state last year. I mean, you have every single program in the girls kind of going to competing with championships with these classes. I mean, you got volleyball, who is just literally a 59ers team away from going to a semi-state themselves. And then you got this team here who has only lost 5 games in the last 2 years.
That's overwhelming. He's a terrific coach, isn't he?
Absolutely he is. I mean, but when you have players like that, I mean, like it's almost like a Phil Jackson situation with Jordan and Kobe and Shaq. Okay, with kind of this class, kind of whatever what they've seen. Okay, with Abby Tomlin last year, Lauren Bomar, Delaney Gale, who were starters themselves basically the whole ride. And then you have these 3 seniors, Kate Welsh, Lillian Tolmen, Olivia Marks. Marks was the leading scorer from last year in that really great team. So you're going to miss a lot next year, but I'm excited to see what they have next year because see if they keep dominating the PCC like they have.
Certainly reason to believe they will, or they might. I mean, they've got all the feeding systems in order and all the other people ready to come up and take the place of the other stars. It's just something kind of rubs off, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is kind of similar to, other than the state championship wins from Minix, this is similar to kind of the Oregon Davis program a while back where they just retooled. I mean, which they're a little bit down now, but I mean, this is very similar to what that program was with under Terry Minix.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
So if it keeps rolling like this, a state's in their future. I mean, but who is your all-star autos player of the game?
Have to be Olivia Marks. I mean, she was good from the start, made very few turnovers, hit field goals, had a number of assists. She was by far the best, and probably Addie Gorski maybe second for Tri-Township.
Absolutely. I'm going to go Olivia Marks too. So stay in orbit, my friends. I will see Jim back here on Regan's Corner during baseball and softball season. Pretty excited for that there, Jim. And how was your first game here on Regan's Corner Sports Network?
It was good. It was fun. It was kind of nice going back and forth with you on it.
Absolutely.